Modern Star Wars games, we have ups, we have downs, we have incredible moments that defy belief, both good and bad. Modern Star Wars games have been an absolute roller coaster, and it has brought out the best and worst of all parties involved. The players, EA, everyone. And at times it's felt like it is the players versus EA with these Star Wars games. Despite all the controversy in the earlier years of EA's tenure of the Star Wars license, fans have stuck through the rough times and not really been rewarded in the end. So it kind of feels like players have been taken on a little bit of a ride, to be honest. And that ride just keeps hitting the bumps with the recent announcement of there being no Star Wars at EA Play Live this year, which a week or so ago was like next to impossible to think about. We couldn't possibly imagine that something that insane could happen given how quiet things had already been. But it happened, and EA, they screwed up. They dropped the ball on this one, and not just with the recent announcement. It's no mystery that the players and the company behind the games they play are so out of sync, it's not funny. So I wanted to put this video together to hopefully help EA develop an understanding of how big these mishaps have been, because it's not right, it's not good, and something does need to change. So this isn't like a bash EA video, you know, I don't do that crap, I'm not that kind of person. It's a plea for a wake-up call, if anything. Some constructive criticism, some spotlight on a big issue that's holding everyone back. So in this video, I'll be going over the huge mistake EA have made with modern Star Wars games, how it can be resolved, and what just cannot continue in future. But before we dive into that, we do have a really cool sponsor for today's video. So this video is sponsored by Owner Saber, one of the coolest sponsors I've had on my channel, so I was more than happy to work with these guys again. So Owner Saber make great high quality lightsabers and have a great range of looks and colors, and they're not just all looks though. They also have a bunch of sound effects like what you'd hear in the movies, including clash effects and blade tip drag and the works. And I mean, they look great, as you can see. And you can also get ones from some of your favorite Star Wars characters as well, so be sure to keep a lookout for those. Now, Owner Saber are currently running a special throughout the remainder of July, so be sure to get in quick through the link in the description below if you want to pick yourself up a brand new super high quality lightsaber. And of course, a big thank you to Owner Saber for sponsoring this video, I do appreciate it. So, EA Star Wars, not a lot has been going right lately. 2015 to 2018 was a turbulent ride. Battlefront 2015 launched pretty bare bones, but through its DLC ended up being a pretty damn good game, although the DLC was paid. Then we had Battlefront 2 with the launch that need not be spoken about. We all know what happened. And then the following year, which was very, very shaky, to the point I actually thought Battlefront 2 was going to get cancelled on several occasions in 2018. Moral of the story, things were not great. But man, 2019 turned a corner for Star Wars games under EA. 2019 is without question EA at their very best in terms of producing and handling Star Wars games. We had Battlefront 2 receiving its best content, the game was getting the recognition it deserved. Jedi Fallen Order came out and turned a new leaf for EA with Star Wars, a complete game on launch, with a fantastic story, deep gameplay, and overall just one of the best Star Wars games, not just of the EA era, but of all time. 2019 was the pinnacle of Star Wars under EA, it just was. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, it's objective fact. 2019 is the benchmark. EA need to be taking another look at that year. That was when they peaked with Star Wars. Ever since then, it's been a rapid decline. Yes, the pandemic, I am sure, has played a role in that. But pretty much everyone else has somewhat recovered from the setbacks of the pandemic. Star Wars games, on the other hand, have not improved in the slightest. If anything, Star Wars games have gone full speed backwards since the pandemic started. Nothing has gotten better. Everything has gotten worse. But why? Why is Star Wars stuck whilst everyone else is moving forward? Well, one of the smaller factors is I think EA thought Squadrons was actually going to be a bigger deal than it actually was. I think EA thought that Squadrons was going to be a somewhat worthy follow-up to Battlefront 2, something that kept players engaged, kept them occupied until the next wave of Star Wars games. But I think we all know that Squadrons came and went very quickly. It was a decent game, don't get me wrong. It's not my kind of game personally, and it seems for the majority of players that was also the case. Like, it's a niched game. It is what it is. It's not the game's fault. But I think the timing of Squadrons was very, very poorly executed. Now, I understand EA have to abide by Disney. Disney and Lucasfilm, they're the big daddies, and from all accounts working with them can be difficult. So maybe Disney has a hand in the poor decision making, but Squadrons was the start of the real problem. it was released at the wrong time. Squadrons was a game that should have been released alongside Battlefront 2, but as we all know, a few months before Squadrons came out, Battlefront 2 was brought to a permanent end, and I understand why Battlefront 2 came to an end, and I want to be clear about that. So I don't think that specifically is EA's biggest mistake. I think it's the fact that they never brought it back once we all started to cope just a little bit better with the pandemic. Once things started to return to somewhat normal. I think ultimately EA's biggest mistake, without question, was not returning to Battlefront 2, leaving it to rot even though Battlefield was nearing completion and, still is today. And in turn, losing a lot of fans in the process, a lot of players, a lot of potential customers. I don't think EA understood the lifeline they had with Battlefront 2 and they just threw it away and never picked it back up again, which I can't stress just how big of a mistake that is. Now, combine this with the recent news that EA, of course, did not showcase Star Wars games at EA Play Live this year, which is still unbelievable. But to be honest, the more I actually look into it, the more I'm starting to think that that was actually more of a Disney thing than EA themselves. But what has this done? It's made people throw the toys out the cot. People, understandably, are not happy. They're distancing themselves even further away from EA's Star Wars. I think what happened this week was kind of the last straw for a lot of people. A lot of people are just done with Star Wars under the EA umbrella. People are already looking to the open world Star Wars game by Ubisoft as the savior. They don't care what's coming next from EA because they've been burned too many times to care. I've seen so many people say that very thing in the past week. It's actually mind-blowing. People are looking ahead and they're not looking at what EA is going to be doing. Because EA realistically, whether it be their fault or Disney or Lucasfilms, have not made a lot of good decisions lately. Now, where do I sit on this personally? I'm not really in that boat because I want Jedi Fallen Order 2 injected into my veins. It's the most requested game I have ever. And then you've of course got the third Battlefront installment from DICE, which of course I'm really rooting for as well. So personally, with the games that I want to see, I need EA to come through and bring me those two bad boys. So I'm still rooting for EA. I'm still team EA. And I hope they come through and deliver what I know that they're capable of because they've proved it before. They brought it to us in 2019, the best year for Star Wars games in the modern era. I want a bit more of that success and that positivity. And I am holding onto a shred of hope that they're actually going to come through with that. But a lot of people just are not. They're done. They're out. They've had enough. And you know what? It's hard to blame them for it. So I do believe EA just made a big mistake with modern Star Wars games. Some of it is rectifiable, some of it is probably not. Some people are just done, tired of disappointment, while they see basically every other IP in gaming flourishing with new games and new announcements, while Star Wars games sit stagnant or go backwards. And it all stems from Battlefront 2 just sitting there left to rot. If Battlefront 2 was still going, even with minimal content updates from a skeleton crew of developers, that would be enough for fans to weather this gaping hole left in modern Star Wars games. Star Wars games right now just feel like a bottomless pit of nothing, and people, to be honest, are pretty much completely done with it, because since 2019, it's been all downhill. It just has. And of course, combine that with the news that there's actually no hope of any upward trajectory until this time next year. That's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. So, I hope EA makes a change soon with Battlefield soon to be released and the bearish times for Star Wars games ahead. I think moving some developers back to Battlefront 2 would do wonders for the overall vibe of Star Wars games under EA. It'll keep some people interested because EA, you guys are losing a lot of loyal fans on a daily basis, and I don't like seeing that happen. Now, I know there's going to be so many people that comment on this video saying stuff like, oh, he just wants the games so his channel doesn't die. If my channel dies, I'm fine with that. I've got a career outside of YouTube that I absolutely love. I just want good Star Wars games. I have done since I was a kid, and I know that there are thousands and thousands, if not millions of people out there that want great Star Wars games. And the fact of the matter is, we're not getting them, and it's mind-blowing as to why. So guys, what do you all think of this? Let me know down in those comments below, and remember to check out Owner Saber through the link below and pick yourself up an awesome lightsaber. And if you did enjoy this video, drop a like to show your support. That's going to do it for me today. EA, you know what you got to do. I just hope you do it. I'll catch you guys next time.